this Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is transcendental sound vibration. This is transcendental sound vibration. And this will help us to cleanse the dust on the mirror of our mind. On the mind, we have accumulated material dust, just like on the Second Avenue, due to the constant traffic of motor cars, there is always a creation of dusting over everything. Similarly, by our manipulation of materialistic activities, there are some material dust which are accumulated on the mind. Therefore, we are unable to see things in true perspective. So this process, this vibration of transcendental sound, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, will cleanse the dust. And as soon as the dust is cleared, then as you can see on the mirror, the nice face of yours, similarly, we can see our real, and to say, constitutional position, what I am. And as soon as I understand that I am not this body, I am spirit soul, and my symptom is consciousness. And that consciousness, as it is purified by this process, the whole material miseries will be over. Bhava-mahādāvāgni-nipāpanam, ceta-darpana-marjanam. In Sanskrit language it is said, Lord Chaitanya's picture you have seen on the showcase, he is dancing and chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare. This sound vibration of Kṛṣṇa, Hare, Rama, as soon as the mind is clear up, then we see our real position, and the immediate result is Bhava-mahādāvāgni-nipāpanam. There is a fire always blazing over this material world. Everyone is trying to extinguish it. But it is not possible to extinguish this fire of material miseries unless we are situated in our pure consciousness of spiritual life. That is the whole thing. Now, we were discussing last meeting, Yadā hi dharmasya glānir bhavati bharata, abhutthānam adharmasya, tadatmanam srijāmaham, Paritrāṇāya sādhūnām vināsāya ca duṣkritāṃ, dharma samasthapanārthāya sambhavāmi juge juge. Why the Lord comes as incarnation? This point we have been discussing last meeting. And what is dharma, what is religion? Perhaps we remember that the translation in the English language, dharma, is a description of certain kind of faith. But according to the Vedic literature, dharma is not a kind of faith. Faith can be changed, but dharma cannot be changed. This point we have already explained. Just like the liquidity of water cannot be changed. If it is changed, suppose the water becomes solid under certain temperature, it becomes ice, but that is not its constitutional position. It is under certain conditions. Similarly, our position is our religion or dharma is that we are part and parcel of the Supreme, and with that Supreme consciousness we have to dovetail our activities with the Supreme. That is our constitutional position. That service attitude, transcendental service attitude, which has to be dovetailed with the Supreme Consciousness, is being misused by our material contact. The service attitude or the engagement is there. Every one of us is a servant. Nobody is a master. He must be serving somebody. This point we have discussed. Even President Johnson, he is the chief man of your state. Still, he is the servant of the state. So nobody is master. To think of oneself that I am the master of all I serve. This is called Maya, illusion. I am not master, I am servant. So my service is now being misused under different designations. So as soon as we become free from the designations, Ceta-darpana-marjana, that means when we can see exactly the position on the mirror of our mind, after dusting over that my position, my constitutional position is that I am eternal servant. But we should not think that my service in the material world and my service in the spiritual atmosphere is the same. No, it is not the same. We are saddened. After liberation we have to become a servant. We saddened. Because we have no idea that what sort of servant is in the transcendental world. In the transcendental world, there is no distinction between the servant and the master. Here is distinction between the servant and the master. But in the transcendental world, in the absolute world, everything is one. Therefore, there is no distinction between servant and master. For example, we are speaking on the Bhagavad-gītā. Just see the position of Kṛṣṇa. He has taken the position of servant, chariot driver of Arjuna. Arjuna is practically, in his constitutional position, he is the servant of Kṛṣṇa. But in behavior, you see, sometimes the Lord becomes the servant of the servant. So we should not carry the materialistic idea in the spiritual, although anything that we materially experience is a perverted reflection only of the spiritual life. So that constitutional position, which cannot be changed, which is called dharma, in order to, when that is deteriorated by contamination of matter, at that time the Lord himself comes as incarnation, or he sends some of his confidence and servitors. Just like Lord Jesus Christ, he said that I am Son of God. So he is representative of the Supreme. And similarly, Hazrat Muhammad, he also identified himself as the servant, Khuda ki banda, the servant of the Lord. So this is the position that whenever there is a discrepancy in the natural law of our constitution position, the Master, the Supreme Lord, either he himself comes in incarnation or he sends some representative to inform us what is actually the position of the living entities. So this is explained here by Lord Kṛṣṇa. Yadā yadā hi dharmasya glānir bhavati. So, this position, this dharma, is not exactly a kind of created fate. It is the constitutional position. Dharma means the constitutional position. Just like sugar constitutional position is to become sweet. Salt constitutional position is to become salty. Alkaline taste. Water is liquid. Stone is solid. These specific qualification is called dharma. Similarly, we living entities, we have got a specific qualification, the eternal attitude to serve others. So that, how to serve Kṛṣṇa, how to attain Kṛṣṇa consciousness, how to give up our material engagement in different designations, this science and this truth is described in the Bhagavad-gītā. Yadā yadā hi dharmasya glānir bhavati. Paritrāṇāya sādhūnām. The Sādhu, in the Bhagavad-gītā, in the last meeting, I have described to some extent what is the qualification of a sadhu. Sadhu means saintly person. Titikṣavaḥ, kāruṇikāḥ, suhṛdaḥ sarva-dehinām. He is tolerant, he is very kind to everyone, and he is friend to all living entities. He has no enemy, or he is nobody's enemy, and he is peaceful. These are some of the qualifications. There are 26 qualifications in detail, but these are some of the qualifications. And in the Bhagavad-gītā, you will find the description of a sadhu, saintly person, is given by the Lord himself. And what is that? He says, api che sudurācāram bhajate mam anannabhā sādhureva samantabhya sammak babasita hi sa. He says, Arjuna, a person who is 7% engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, he might be externally, ephemerally seen to be addicted to some bad habits. Still, you should consider him to be a saint. You should consider him to be a saint. What is that? Now suppose we have contaminated so many things in our material life. There are, in the material calculation, there are so many things which are the least. And one list is for morality, and another list is for immorality. I do not wish to discuss this list because for a person which is immorality, for another person it is not immorality, it is morality. Just like according to our conception, Hindu conception, drinking of wine is immoral. Whereas in your country, drinking of wine is not immoral, it is common thing. Of course, so according to time, class, place, the conception of morality and immorality are different. But there is a sense of immorality and morality in everywhere. That is a fact. So Kṛṣṇa says that even if you see a person immoral, but he is completely engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, then it should be concluded that he is a saint. He is a saintly person. That is the description given by Kṛṣṇa of Sādhu. Apiche sudurāchāra bhajate māṁ anannabhā sādhureva samantavya. So, in other words, he says, any person who is engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, never mind, he might have something externally immoral habits due to his past association. It doesn't matter. So, somewhere or other, one should be Kṛṣṇa conscious. And then, gradually, he will become a saintly person. As he goes on executing this process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, then with his advancement, he becomes a perfect saint. That we'll find in Bhagavad-gītā. And how Kṛṣṇa says that even if he is externally a little immoral, of course a devotee or a person who is Kṛṣṇa conscious, he is never immoral. But it may be that due to his past association, he may appear to be immoral, or he may fall down. Due to habits, we may sometimes fall down. There is a story how habit is the second nature. There was a thief, and he went to pilgrimage with some other friends. So at night, when other friends were sleeping, because his habit was to steal at night, so he got up at night and was taking one body's baggage and tried to pickpocket or take something. But he was thinking, oh, I have come to this holy place of pilgrimage. Still, shall I do that committing theft, my habit? No, I shall not do it. So he was taking the bag of one person and is keeping in another place. So in the whole night, the poor fellow did like that, but due to his conscience that I have come to this holy place, at least during my stay here I shall not do this stealing business. So in the morning, when all other friends got up, everyone says, oh, where is my bag? I don't see. And another man says, oh, I don't see my bag. Then somebody says, oh, here is your bag. So there was some row. So they thought, what is the matter, how it so happened? Then the thief rose up and told all friends, my dear gentlemen, I am a thief by occupation, but because I have that habit to steal at night, so I wanted to steal something from your bag, but I thought that I have come to this holy place, I shall not do it. So I might have placed one man's bag in another man's place, so excuse me. So this is the habit. This is the habit. He does not want. He does not want to commit theft, but he has got the habit of doing that. So similarly, he has decided not to commit theft anymore, but because he is habituated, sometimes he does. So therefore Kṛṣṇa says, in that condition, one who has decided to stop all bad or immoral habits and just to make his progress in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, even by chance, if he does something which is immoral in the face of the society, that should not be taken account of. Of course, that is by chance. And in the next verse we will find satsang bhavati dharma. Because he has dovetailed himself in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, it is sure that he will become a saintly, and to say a pure saint very soon. Very soon. The example is just like the electric fan is going on, and if you put off the switch, you will see the fan is still going on. But that going on will stop because the switch is already off. Similarly, if one dovetails himself in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, then automatically he will become a saintly person. Automatically. Because his switch is made off. Just like the fan, when the switch is made off, the current supply is stopped. Now there was a force of running. You may see that it is running for few minutes, but it will stop. Similarly, anyone, it doesn't matter what he is, if he puts himself, dovetails himself in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, then all his material contamination will be washed off. This is the easiest process. There was many examples, of course. There are in scriptures, there are many good examples. But it is a fact that anyone who takes to Kṛṣṇa consciousness, he doesn't require to endeavor for becoming a good man. Separately, that Kṛṣṇa consciousness will help him to be the best man in the world. Apiti Gurāchara. And there are other confirmation in the Bhagavata that Jasyāsi bhakti bhagavat akinchana sarva-dehinām tatra samasate sura. Anyone who has attained the Kṛṣṇa consciousness, he attains all good qualities automatically. And parāva bhaktasya kuto mahadaguna. Anyone who is not in Kṛṣṇa consciousness or God consciousness, when I speak of Kṛṣṇa, you can take it as God. A person who is devoid of God consciousness, however he may be qualified from the material point of view, the scripture says that his qualification will not help him in doing things which are not desired. He'll not be prohibited to do things which are not desired. Parāva bhaktasya kuto mahadaguna manorathena asata bhavata vahi. Because he is devoid of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, then he is sure to commit mischief in this material world. Now, the next verse is Janma karma cha me divyam evaṁ jo vetti tattataha tatta dehang punarjanma naiti mamiti so Arjuna. My dear Arjuna, the reason, the mission for which I appear is now explained. That I come here to establish the real constitutional position of the living entities. That is my mission. Now, when I come with some mission, there are some activities. There are some activities. Now there are some philosophers. They do not agree to accept that God comes as incarnation. They do not believe in this theory. They say that why God shall come to this rotten world. That is their vision. But here, from the Bhagavad-gītā, we understand that God comes. We shall always remember that we are reading Bhagavad-gītā, and whatever is spoken in the Bhagavad-gītā, we have to, at least, we have to accept that. Otherwise there is no question of reading this Bhagavad-gītā. Here the Lord says that I am present here as incarnation, and this is my mission. And as he comes with a mission, there are some activities, just like Lord Kṛṣṇa is taking part with Arjuna and is taking part in the battlefield of the Kurukshetra. Just like ordinary man, when there is war between two parties, somebody takes part with this party, and somebody takes part, or some nation takes part with one party, and another nation takes part with another nation. So here also we see that Kṛṣṇa is taking part with Arjuna. Partiality. It appeared that Kṛṣṇa is partial. So Kṛṣṇa is not partial. But externally it appears that he is partial. How he can be God? Now, therefore, this verse is spoken by Lord Kṛṣṇa. The janma karma me divyam. My activities and my coming down to this material world is transcendental. Divyam means transcendental. It is not ordinary things. Just like Kṛṣṇa, we observe in India the Kṛṣṇa's birthday. In this month of August, by the end of August, there will be Kṛṣṇa's birthday. And every Indian home, especially the Hindus, never mind in whatever sect or division they belong, they observe Kṛṣṇa's birthday. As here in the Christian world, you observe the birthday of Lord Jesus Christ. Similarly, so janma. Now here Kṛṣṇa says that my janma, my birth, and because there is birth, so there are some activities. Just like we have taken our birth, and there are some activities. So these Kṛṣṇa's birth and Kṛṣṇa's activities are transcendental. Transcendental means they are not these material activities. Now people will be surprised how Kṛṣṇa's activities are transcendental. He is taking part with Arjuna, he is taking part in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He is born of a father whose name is Vasudeva, and he has got a family, and so on and so on. So just like us, but he says it is transcendental. It is transcendental. And again he says, Dibbam evam jo beti tattata. Tattata means in truth. Simply by knowing, though Kṛṣṇa is born here at Mathura, and he was brought up by his foster father at Vrindavan. Then when he was grown up, he went back to his father at Dwarka, and when he was old, he married and so many wives, and he had children, and there was a battle of Kurukshetra, and he took part. These things are there in the history or in the scriptures. But one has to understand this tattva in truth. And the one who understands this Krishna's birth and activities and his presence, tattva in truth, then what the result is? The result is sadhūnām punarjanma naiti mameti kaunteya. The result is that any person who understands this Krishna's activities, his birth and his pastimes, his paraphernalia, everything, the result is simply by understanding it. The result will be that after leaving this material body, he goes directly to Krishna. He goes directly to Krishna. That means he becomes the liberated soul, and he goes to the eternal world, and he becomes in his constitutional position of blissful knowledge and eternal life. Simply by knowing this. Simply by knowing in truth the transcendental nature of Krishna's birth and activities, one is at once promoted to the transcendental world. This is clearly stated here. Sadhūnām. Just like ordinarily when we give up this body, we quit this body, we have to accept another body. Vāsaṁ siddhināni yatha. We have discussed this point that we living entities, our life is going on simply by changing dresses from one body to another, transgression of the soul, according to our work. So this body is dress. Therefore, I have got an actual body. Just like at the present moment, we think this material body is my actual body, and there is dress, certain core. The certain core is superficial to this actual body. But here in the Bhagavad-gītā you find that we have got our real spiritual body separate from this material cover. And as we give up old garments, old dress, and take up another new dress, another new garment, similarly, we give up this body, material body, when it is old enough, when it cannot be used, or then we give it up and we take another body. And thus change of body is going on every moment and every second. This point also we have discussed. That particular verse, dehinasmin yatha dehi kaumara jauvana jara tatha dehantaram prapti dhiras tatra namiyati. Just like the entity, living entity, is in the body, just like a child. The living entity is there, the body is very small, but that small body is growing. That is changing and growing. That a small child becomes a boy, grown-up boy, and that grown-up boy gradually becomes a youth, and then that youth becomes an old man, and then at the end, when the body is no more useful, he changes to another body. So this death means the ultimate change of the present body. So this body is changing. Now Kṛṣṇa says that as the body is changing, still the person whose body is this, he is there. He is there. The child is grown up to a boyhood. That does not mean the living entity who came out as a baby is gone. No, he is still there. but his body is changed. Now we cannot find the small body which came out of the mother's womb when the grown-up boy. And you cannot find in a youth the grown-up boyhood photograph or the body. That is gone. So every moment we are having a new body. And that is a medical science too. Medical science, it is, we are having new body every moment. Similarly, when we take another body, or a person who knows things as they are not bewildered. Dhira sattva namayati. Dhira means who is conscious of this bodily change, who knows things as they are. He is not, to bewildered. He is steady. He has changed his body, that's all. A person who does not know, he is crying. He is, my son is gone, my son is gone, my son is gone. But if he is, in the consciousness, he knows, my son has simply changed the body, that's all. Just exactly. My son, when he was little baby, now he has grown up to be a boy. So the father and the parents do not lament, where that son gone, that small baby gone. Similarly, the change of body. So our body is like that, we are changing in the material condition. In the material condition, we are simply changing our body. That is our disease. This conditional life of changing the body, one after another, not only human body. We may have to change to animal's body or to another demigod's body. There are different species of life. I have several times spoken before you that there are 8,400,000 of species of life. So our body is being changed in the circle of this 8,400,000 of different species of life. This is called our material bondage. Now here Kṛṣṇa says that one who knows the Kṛṣṇa's transcendental birth and activities in truth, he gets free from this entanglement. He at once gets free from this entanglement. Now here, the word tattata is very important. The tattata is the science of Kṛṣṇa. Tattata, in truth. Simply by knowing, by historical fact, that Kṛṣṇa is born in such and such death, in such and such place, in such and such family, he did such and such activity. But no, one has to learn them in tattata, in truth. Then he becomes free from this bodily entanglement. How is this close? Now, how that tattata, in truth, the Kṛṣṇa science, how one can understand? Kṛṣṇa science, that is explained in the 18th chapter, how Kṛṣṇa science can be understood. Kṛṣṇa science can be understood by this devotional service. You'll find this verse that bhaktya mam avijanati javan jasyami tattatah. Javan jasyami tattatah. The truth of Kṛṣṇa science can be understood by becoming a devotee or a person of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. One who is Kṛṣṇa conscious, the process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, he can simply understand what is this science of Kṛṣṇa. Others cannot. Now it is very clearly stated, bhaktya mam avijanati. Bhakta means Kṛṣṇa consciousness, the science of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Bhaktya Mam abhijanati. One can understand me very clearly by the process of that devotional service or Krishna consciousness. And in the beginning of the 4th chapter, we have also discussed that Kṛṣṇa said to Arjuna that I am speaking to you the old process of yoga system, this bhakti yoga system of Krishna consciousness in the Bhagavad-gītā, and to you, because you are my devotee. This point also we have discussed, that without becoming a Krishna conscious person, nobody can understand the mystery of Bhagavad-gītā. Bhagavad-gītā is not a book that you can purchase from the market and simply by your scholarship you can understand it. No, it is not possible. That point we have discussed. Bhaktosi, me priyote. You are, because you are my devotee. Krishna, Arjuna was ordinary family man. He was a military man. And Krishna said that I am speaking to you. He was not a Vedic Vedantist or a very good scholar in Vedanta philosophy, or he was not a Brahmin, or he was not a renouncer, nothing of the sort. He was a military man. Krishna, Arjuna was military man, and he was a family man. He was to look after the interest of his family. Still, Krishna selected him to be the authority of Bhagavad-gītā. Why? Na bhaktosi, because you are my devotee. So that is the qualification. So to become Krishna conscious is the qualification to understand Bhagavad-gītā as well as to understand Krishna as he is. Therefore, we have to become Krishna conscious. And what is that Krishna consciousness? That this process which you have adopted, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now this chanting and this hearing of Bhagavad-gītā. Bhagavad-gītā hearing as it is, from persons who are engaged in this business. That will help us to become Krishna conscious. And as soon as we become Krishna conscious, Krishna also help us to understand. In the Bhagavad, there is a verse, Sinnatang Sakata Kṛṣṇa Punnasravana Kirtana Riddantasta Avadrani Vidhunati Suhṛdaḥ. Krishna is always present in your heart. Ishara sarva-bhūtānaṁ. Ishara Arjuna Tishtati. You'll find in Bhagavad. The Lord is present in everyone's heart as super soul. We are both the soul, living entity, and the super soul. Both are sitting in this tree of body. One is eating the fruit, another is witness. That is also described in the Vedas. The Lord is there. So, as soon as you begin the process of devotional service and gradually develop your Krishna consciousness, then Lord who is sitting within your heart, He will help you. Sinnatang, how He will help you? He will help you in the same process, the dusting over and the dust out, to take out all the dirty things which have accumulated within our mind. Sinnatang Sakata Kṛṣṇa Punnasravana Kirtana Riddantasta Avadrani. Avadrani means the dirty things. The dirty things which we have accumulated by our material association. Krishna will help us to remove that. Riddantasta Avadrani Vidhunati Suhṛdaḥ. Because He is a friend of all saintly persons. He is a friend. So our endeavor to become Krishna conscious is a saintly endeavor. And so he also cooperates. And this is the process. Savanam Kirtanam. Savanam Kirtanam. Chanting and hearing of this Bhagavad-gītā and Srimad Bhagavatam. With oral reception, submissive oral reception. That very process will teach us the truth of the Krishna science. And when we understand the Krishna science, automatically we understand what is Kṛṣṇa. And as soon as we understand Kṛṣṇa, the next result is that after leaving this present material body, we go at once to the kingdom of Krishna. This is the whole problem. Tattādeham punarjanmanaiti mameti kaunjana. Then he does not come again to this miserable world. He goes back to Godhead, back to home. And what is that home? That we'll find Jadgatyāna nivattanti tadhāma paramam mama. Such description is there also in the Bhagavad-gītā. What is the position of that transcendental world? Najatra bhāsayati surja. There is no need of the sun. There is no need of the moon. There is no need of electricity. That is mentioned in the Bhagavad-gītā. So this world, this material world is dark, is always dark. Therefore here we require the sun and the moon and the electric light. Otherwise it is dark. As soon as the electric will fail, then whole city will be in darkness. So the nature of this, and the Vedic mantra also says, that don't remain in this darkness. Tamasi ma, jyotidgama. Just try to transfer yourself in that illuminated world. Jyotidgama. Jyoti means illumination. So this world, this material world is full of darkness. Darkness, one meaning of darkness is ignorance. And another darkness, without absence of light. So this nature of this material world is darkness. So if we understand the Krishna science and the activities of Kṛṣṇa, how he comes, how he works, what is the mission of his activity, because as the Supreme Lord he has nothing to do. But why he comes? In the Vedic literature you find natasya kāryam karananca vidyate. The description of the Supreme Brahma is described there, that Upanishad. The natasya kāryam karananca vidyate. The Supreme, the Absolute, he has nothing to do. He has nothing to do. Just like if we want to do, have something, we have to do. But there, the Absolute, he has nothing to do. Natasya kāryam karananca vidyate. Natasya sama adhikashta drishyate. And there is nobody who is equal to him and nobody who is above him. That means everyone is below him. Nobody equal to him and nobody above him. That means everybody is below. Natasya kāryam karananca vidyate, natasya sama adhikashta drishyate, prasa sakti vividhaiva sriyate. The Supreme has got many, manifold energies. Therefore, everything is done. Sāvā vikigyāna valakriyaca, and his knowledge and his activities are sāvā, natural. Just as we have to acquire knowledge from a greater personality, but he has got all the natural, all knowledge. Just like Kṛṣṇa is speaking this Bhagavad-gītā to Arjuna, but he was never taught of Bhagavad-gītā. I am speaking to you Bhagavad-gītā, just learning from my spiritual master. So I had to learn it. But when Kṛṣṇa spoke, he had not to learn it. He had no business to learn it because svābhāvika jnana balakriyata. His knowledge is natural. So these things are to be understood. That one who understands the science of Kṛṣṇa in truth, then the benefit is, the result is that he no more comes back to this world of darkness. Tattādeham punarjanmane. Neither he has to undergo the repeated birth and death. We are just like undergoing the turn of repeated birth and death under different species of life. So that thing will be stopped. So human mission, human life should be utilized for this purpose. This is the Dharma. This is real our engagement. We have diverted our engagement for satisfying our material needs. Oh, that is not the mission of human being. That is the mission of lower animals. Ahara nidra bhayamaitanancha samannam pasavī narāṇā dharma hitīsām adhiko visesha dharmena hīnā pasavī samānā. This is the mission. That ahara nidra bhayamaitanancha, these are our material needs. The problem of eating, the problem of sleeping or shelter, the problem of defense, and the problem of sense gratification. These four problems are common to the human being and to the animals. The animals have also got these problems. Eating, sleeping, defending, and what is called sense gratification. But we have got also those problems. So they are also trying to solve these problems. And if we are also engaged in simply solving these problems, then what is the difference between the animals and the human being? The human being, the next line says, dharma hitīsām adhiko visasa. The human being has got a special qualification by which he can develop this transcendental Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And if he does not do that, then he is in the category of the animal. So, the defect of modern civilization is that we are giving too much stress for simply for solving these problems. Eating, sleeping, defending, and sense gratification. But as spiritual being, as spiritual living entity, we have got the necessity of getting out of this entanglement of repeated birth and death. And if we do not care for this, then we shall be missing the opportunity. And Lord Kṛṣṇa comes to teach us how you can utilize your human form of life for the ultimate goal of your life. This whole material creation is there just to give you a chance to have your things done nicely. Bhutta praliyate. This material creation is given a chance. But even after getting the chance, and even after getting the supreme body of human life, we do not develop this Kṛṣṇa consciousness and just to get rid of this material entanglement, then we shall be missing the opportunity. So everyone's duty is that he should take to this Kṛṣṇa consciousness by engaging himself in this process of sādhūnām kirtanam Vishnu, chanting and hearing, this simple process. You have nothing to do. Simply if you give oral reception, that will clear everything within your mind and you'll get enlightenment because Kṛṣṇa will help you. He is present within you. You have simply to, spare a little time. You will see actually, if you kindly spare a little time in this process which you have adopted here, you'll feel yourself. Nobody has to canvass you that, whether you are making your progress. No, you will understand it. Because it is actual. You will understand it. Just like a hungry man, if he is given food stuff, he knows how far he is satisfied. Nobody has to certify that you are satisfied. No. He will say, yes, I am satisfied. I am satisfied. Very good food stuff. Similarly, this is the thing. If you kindly spare a little time, you will feel yourself how much you are making progress in Kṛṣṇa consciousness and how much making progress in your human mission of life. So, I shall request you that we are just trying to just endeavor, our poor endeavor it is. Still, it is our duty to do it. If you kindly take advantage of this opportunity, both we shall be benefited. Well, that is the process we have adopted here, the Society for Kṛṣṇa Consciousness. And I invite you all to come and take part in it and make your life successful. Thank you very much. Any question? You have to associate yourself with persons who are in that business. Then gradually you will also develop the sense and you will also become. So there is no cause of disappointment that because you have no taste for such things. So this is the chance. It is our duty to give chance everybody to have this opportunity. Because we have dedicated our life for this service. So we are ready. So you take advantage of our humble service, and then you will understand and you will know there will be no difficulty. Yes.
Swamiji, you mentioned about Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Have you ever referring to self-realization? You mentioned Krishna consciousness.
What is that?
Are you referring to self-realization, cosmic consciousness?
Yes. Krishna consciousness means cosmic consciousness. Kṛṣṇa, when you speak of Kṛṣṇa, you don't take any personal view. Kṛṣṇa means all attractive. So all attraction is there in the cosmic. Cosmic consciousness is Kṛṣṇa consciousness.
Well, I believe that most of the Westerners do not know the meaning of Krishna consciousness.
That we are explaining here.
To explain that it's cosmic consciousness, self-realization.
Yes. So we are explaining Kṛṣṇa consciousness here. As you say, the most of the Westerns they do not know the meaning. So we are present here to explain the meaning. So that is our humble service. Because Kṛṣṇa and Bhagavad-gītā is very well known in the Western countries, and there are so many editions and publication of Bhagavad-gītā both in Europe and America and other parts of Asia. Kṛṣṇa more or less well known, but actually the science of Kṛṣṇa is not so well known. Therefore, we have put up this association, International Association or Society for Kṛṣṇa Consciousness.
I believe that most of the Westerners, if they would read the Bhagavad-gītā,
Yes.
Upanishad,
Yes.
the Vedas,
Yes.
I believe then there will be a better understanding of Krishna.
Yes, yes. Therefore I say Kṛṣṇa, because most of them are acquainted with the Bhagavad-gītā, and the speaker of Bhagavad-gītā is Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa is also well known to them. But actually what is Kṛṣṇa, the science of Kṛṣṇa, they do not know. So this humble attempt is to just to present the science of Kṛṣṇa to them, and I wish that they may take advantage of this opportunity. So any other question?
Swamiji, may I
Yes.
ask you a question? Do you teach self-realization?
Eh?
Do you teach self-realization?
Yes, this is
Do
self-realization.
you initiate?
Huh?
Do you initiate?
Yes, I initiate also. But this is the process of self-realization. To know.
You are an authority on initiation of self-realization.
Yes, and of course, I do not know whether I am authority, but my spiritual master has authorized me to do this.
That's all right. That's sufficient.
I do not think myself an authority. I am just to serve the order of my spiritual master.
Yes.
That's
Very good. But I suppose you know that in the Western countries, lots of them initiate and they never have the chance to be initiated by the master in order to initiate others. As you heard, quite a few.
yes, of course.
They take the responsibility on themselves.
Yes, yes.
That will get a lot of help.
So, any other question? I mean to say, authority is very simple. It is not very difficult. Just like we find in the Bhagavad-gītā, that self-realization, as per Bhagavad-gītā, was taught to Arjuna. Now, how Arjuna understood it, that is also mentioned in the Bhagavad-gītā. Simply, if you try to understand Bhagavad-gītā as Arjuna understood it, then you also become self-realized. So it is not a very difficult job. Unfortunately, people apply their own scholastic ideas in a different way, and they murder the whole thing. You see? The simple thing is that if we understand it as it is, then it is as simple as anything. But if you want to, just like in Bengal, there is a proverb, the ghuriye nagdakan. Now, you are asking me, just like sometimes we ask small child, where is your nose? He says, it is nose. Where is your eye? It is. That is a simple thing. But one man is asked, where is your nose? He says, oh, here is my nose. Here is my nose, this is a simple thing. But one should show, oh, here is my nose. So Bhagavad-gītā is interpreted like that. Here is my nose. Nobody shows that here is my nose. So that is the difficulty. They have created a difficult situation of this Bhagavad-gītā, I'm to say, catastrophe. So, if any sincere student will take Bhagavad-gītā as it is, this self-realization is as cheap as anything.
Smartly, I suppose it's not so easy to realize.
No. Simply, you have to hear it as it is. Don't try to interpret in a different way. The whole mischief is that everyone has got his own philosophy. And Bhagavad-gītā is a popular book, and he wants to prove his own philosophy through Bhagavad-gītā. Because he wants to be an important man, and he wants to show that here is mentioned in the Bhagavad-gītā, and the presence of jugglery of words and mislead the people. Just like I have repeatedly mentioned here, that in our country, Mahatma Gandhi, he had his philosophy of non-violence. And he wanted to prove non-violence from Bhagavad-gītā. But Bhagavad-gītā is spoken in the war field. Bhagavad-gītā is spoken when Arjuna was in problem, whether to fight or not to fight. And that is the background of Bhagavad-gītā. Now if anyone wants to prove that in Bhagavad-gītā there is non-violence, then it is something else. Violence is there in the Bhagavad-gītā. So similarly, we should not try to we should not try to understand Bhagavad-gītā according to my viewpoint of view. I must understand Bhagavad-gītā as it is presented by Kṛṣṇa. Then it is easy.